Welcome, everyone. Welcome, friends, family, fellow Overeater Anonymous members, guests, healthcare professionals, supporters. We welcome everybody here who is interested in learning more about Overeaters Anonymous from the perspective of people who are Asian Pacific Islander or Desi, or what we call OA APID. So I'll be using an acronym throughout this workshop. So my name is Ken. I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm also Filipino. I'm the son of immigrants. I was born and raised in the Bay Area. I'm a major Bay Area sports lover, and I've been in Overeaters Anonymous for more than 6 years. I will also be your moderator for today. I'd like to acknowledge the team that helped put this event together. If whoever would like to just unmute themselves, introduce themselves, their name, how you identify, and how long you've been in the Overeaters Anonymous program. It's up to you if you choose to.
I'm Desi, grateful recovering compulsive overeater, living in the island of Alameda in Northern California, originally from the island of Guam, in the program for over 3 years. Glad to be here. Grateful that you're all here today.
Thank you, Jesse. During the Lunar New Year of 2021 or February of 2021, the very first OA APID meeting was started in OA. There was a need for APID folks in OA to connect and meet because there were so few of us. When this meeting started, it was also at the height of the Asian hate crimes happening all around the country. For me personally, I spent the first 3 years in OA as the only Asian and then the only Asian man in those different rooms. This was highly confusing for me because I grew up in the Bay Area and there were so many Asians around and Filipinos specifically. So where were all the APID members in OA? So this workshop is a response to those interested in Overeaters Anonymous, who are Asian, Pacific Islander, and Desi specific focus groups. We have opened up this meeting to everyone so that we can spread the message that there's a place to receive help and support finding relief from compulsive eating. If you are Asian, Pacific Islander, or Desi, there's also a place in Overeaters Anonymous for you too. We hope our stories will bring hope to those suffering from compulsive eating. We also hope that you will share that hope with others too. So before we get started, there's some logistical notes to be made aware of. We will be recording the audio only of this workshop. This recording will be made available on our website. So we're doing this so that in the future, if you know someone who would be interested in learning more about OA APID, you can share this recording and you could connect them with us. So this format of this workshop will happen in the following order. First, we'll read some excerpts of how our meeting and how it usually starts and why we put those things in. 2, we'll have 2 speakers share their experience, strength, and hope of being in OA as an APID member. 3, we'll open up the floor for questions and answers to the speakers. Please, you don't be shy. You can either come off mute and speak it out loud, or you can ask questions through chat. And we have some folks who will be watching the chat to ask the questions out loud. And then when we close, and if folks have any more general questions, we're going to be there afterwards for that too. So that is our format for today. It's good to see a lot of folks here. So as we do at our meetings, we'll open the meeting with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. If you would like to, you could also come off on mute and then say the serenity prayer with me. Everybody take a deep breath in. And out. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right. The OA preamble is also read at the beginning of our meetings too. Overeaters Anonymous is a fellowship of individuals through shared experience, strength, and hope are recovering from compulsive overeating. We want to welcome everyone who wants to stop eating compulsively. There are no dues nor fees for members who are self-supporting through our own contributions, neither soliciting nor accepting outside donations. OA is not affiliated with any public or private organizations, political movement, ideology, or religious doctrine. We take no position on outside issues. Our primary purpose is to abstain from compulsive eating and compulsive food behaviors, and to carry the message of recovery through the 12 steps of OA to those who still suffer. So all are welcome here today at this workshop. The following is also the regularly scheduled APID meeting format opening. This opening is read every week to provide a sense of safety, healthy boundaries, and purpose for our APID community. So Asian Pacific Islanders and Desi, APID, is the special focus of this meeting. Our intent of this meeting is to hear recovery from people who identify themselves as part of the APID diaspora, including anyone of multiracial heritage that includes APID. This sacred space enables those who identify as APID to share their experience in a comfortable place. We ask our non-APID fellows to be allies to this community by respecting the sensitive nature and special focus of this meeting. And then we go, after reading that, we go into 1 minute of quiet time for reflection, and then we'll go introduce our speakers. So if we could just have 1 minute of quiet reflection, please.
Yes, Tom.
All right, thank you, Jesse. We will now move into our speakers. I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Prasad. So let's give it up for Prasad, everybody. And Prasad, please let Jesse know how you like your time to be kept.
I'll keep my own time, but thank you for offering. We're thinking about 15 minutes, right? 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah. Great. So I am Prasad. I'm a compulsive eater, and I appreciate the opportunity to come share with all of you today. I've been in this program for about 5 years now. I have not, and so it's been a big growth and a really important and beneficial part of my life, not just for me, but all of my loved ones as well. This whole workshop was born out of this meeting. When I found it a few years ago, it was initially listed as an open meeting, and we went through a lot of discussions internally about people having safety and comfort sharing in a space like this. And what we decided was the meeting itself was going to be best available to, as if it was closed for OA members. But at the same time, we wanted to have something to connect with people outside of the Asian community. And that's where this beautiful workshop came about. And I'm really glad that, it took a lot of time, effort, and energy to come to this point. And we just really, really appreciate everyone that put in for it. My personal journey with overeating started as a child, I feel like. I remember distinctly when I was in high school being out of town with some friends and going out to dinner, and they had this entire pie on sale for $10. Like, you could get a piece for 3 or 4, but an entire pie for $10, and we could take it back to our hotel room and eat it today and tomorrow and the next day, and just being so excited about it. And the friends with whom I was standing, no idea. They were just like, if we want pie tomorrow, we'll get pie tomorrow. It didn't make sense to them that you would just jump on this incredible deal. And I knew at that point, I guess I was a little bit different. When I went off to college, I did a lot of sports and stuff as a kid. And when I went off to college, I had all these feelings and emotions and anxiety, and I didn't know how to handle it. And that's when I started when I was 18, 19, 20, really jumping into substances to deal with these problems and to numb and to run away and escape. At first, for me, it was drugs and alcohol. I have been sober for 11 years, which is really, really cool. food at that time was a plus. It was part of the ritual, but it wasn't the main event. After I got sober, food became a much bigger part of my life. It would numb when I needed to, it would work when I needed it to. And like any illness, it got worse, progressively worse over time. There's one spot when I was a couple years sober where I remember sharing with a fellow member in Alcoholics Anonymous about this thing I used to call, I called it Around the World, where I'd go to 4 different fast food spots to get like whatever I want from them. And then by the time I got home, it was cold, which is like not the point of fast food, but like then sit there and binge and feel some stupid comfort because I had to reheat in the microwave or whatever it was. And right, the look on that dude's face when I explained to him how I was eating was like really, really like concerning and embarrassing and made me not want to talk about that kind of stuff anymore. And again, like the way that I was eating, the way that I was living was hidden. Like I had help to hit it. And I try to get help from folks over time here and there, but I didn't find the right help. And I didn't find people who could really understand some of what I was experiencing and why I was eating. Because like, you know, I have a mom who is a wonderful, loving, caring human and asks me to lose weight and eat healthy. If I love her, you know, if I care about her, I'll do these things. It makes me promise or asks me to promise that I will do all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's not like I'm eating like this because it's fun. You know, it stopped being fun. It's not like a laughing matter to me anymore. It's really something where I'm powerless, that I really need some extra help and guidance and like some stuff outside of my own will and outside of my own control in order to change. And I've been able to find that here in Overeaters Anonymous. I grew up with a lot of taboo about this kind of stuff. You know, you're supposed to know how to do it and deal with it. And we also, like, in a wonderful way, I have lots of my parent, like, I have lots of aunties and uncles that aren't my parents' siblings. It's just a cultural thing where that's how we connect and relate. And it's really wonderful in a lot of ways because I feel like I have a huge family, even though I don't have any brothers or sisters. But it also gives them the comfort to be blunt with me. And I was at a family wedding a couple weeks ago, and lots of people, you know, outside of asking me why I'm not married yet, just came up and said to me, "You put on weight." And I'm like, "Oh, you know, thank you. I hadn't realized that my jeans don't fit anymore and I wear sweatpants most of the time." You know, like, it's not really helpful, but it's just something that it's such a big part of everything and anything that we hear about, you know, with physical appearance. And I've learned to address it with humor over time. But what OA has really helped me do is find some peace of mind with who I am and how I look, and know that I'm living and doing, like, you know, the right things along the way. Yeah. What this specific group has offered me within the Asian and Pacific Islander and Desi realm is even like looking back on experiences with my best friend. When I would mention stuff about race, like if I think a friend's parent was actions were racially motivated towards me, I'd get responded with a lot of defensiveness and like people trying to convince me that I was wrong. It might be the case, but like that's not the first place to start, you know. And even in OA, I was at a business meeting where I had brought up the need to improve diversity at one of our meetings. And a good friend of mine followed up by saying, "We don't have a diversity problem at this meeting." And like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm the only person of color that attends this meeting regularly. Like, it's a thing. But if I say anything or if I show emotion or if I express anything, then I'm being sensitive or defensive or whatever. And like, yes, I'm very sensitive. I'm aware of this. But I also feel like I had to represent an entire culture, which This isn't like unique to Asian and Pacific Islanders. You know, this is something that marginalized communities all over have felt and experienced. And again, this is from a good friend who like understands, cares, and everything. But I, so I had to like keep a calm face, even though it was hurting, and then like address my feelings afterwards. And it was really, really cool to have people reach out to me. You know, we have a lot of advocates and allies along with us to check on how I was doing and to have this space, this Asian Pacific Islander safe space where I can come and share and explain this is what happened. And it sucks. It's not the end of the world. And like, thank you. And there have been plenty of beautiful experiences where I've had allies support and restate what I'm saying. And it's really, 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 really cool. I am lucky enough to have a sponsor today. My sponsor is a white male in his 70s. And over the last few years, I have really started investigating race, stuff around that. And the reason we talk about it is because, again, the feelings and the emotions are what make me eat. Like, the eating is my solution to numb whatever pain I have, the anxiety, the fear, all of that stuff. And so I need to address those feelings and I need to address those fears in a healthy manner. And my sponsor, when I bring up this kind of stuff, because it's been on my inventory, it's been something that comes up quite regularly. He either says, I don't understand that experience, or he just sits there and listens. And it's really, really, like, I'm really, really lucky to find someone who's this supportive, caring, and understanding, who isn't trying to tell me that I'm wrong or fix me or defend himself, but just listen. And so I know that this is an area of my life that I have avoided and I've blended, and I need some extra help and guidance and support in order to heal. Like we talk about this not just within Overeaters Anonymous, but in general, it's called generational trauma, right? Like, my parents were colonized and then had to come to this country as immigrants and adjust and all of these things. A lot of the fears associated with fitting in and being not causing a problem or causing a ruckus, all these things have been ingrained in me. And it's okay. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I'm not complaining about it. But I'm just really, really grateful that I have found a safe space where I can heal, along with get support, and then create these sort of opportunities to put words behind the feelings that I didn't know how to explain my entire life. And now that it gives me the opportunity to go out and share that with others. Yeah, I really just really, really appreciate having this fellowship in this group. And so thank you for creating this workshop, inviting me to speak, and allowing this, just generating the space for us to all learn and connect.
Hey, give it up. We'll introduce our next speaker. To introduce Mai. Are you good to go, Mai? All right, here we go, Mai.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Thumbs up.
Yep, we're good.
Hi, my name is Mai. I'm a compulsive overeater and bulimic. But I actually identify as an addict of all kinds. It's not just food that I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to basically anything that takes me away from myself. I started program about 7 years ago. Actually coming through to the room at the I think Glendora office. I met a lot of the fellows on here through the LA birthday party. Well, actually one, and then she was gracious enough to I don't know, we kept our relationship, and the next she's like, hey, can you, and and I'm really happy to be a part of this, because I don't know, being here, like being able to talk, it's a different feeling because there's a lot of times when, you know, when I was in the group, my home group is in Glendora, California, was about 30 minutes north of Anaheim, which is Disneyland, and then about an hour east of LA. And I'm just going to be frank and transparent, but I was amongst just older white women, and it was really hard to relate to a lot of the things, or like the things that I would say. It was really hard to um, really dive deep into my programs and the things that were causing me to eat, because a lot of it was like dysfunction within my family and just some of the upbringings. And so when Janlita asked me to speak, and I had it was probably one of the first times I was very transparent and rigorously honest, um, to not hurt people's feelings and stuff like that. But it was really connecting to have everybody finally understood what I was talking about when I would overeat or whatever whatever I would go to. So what I was like before. Um, it's crazy because I look at my life now, and I'm telling you, I cannot believe that I'm where I'm at. I'm sitting outside my car and I'm sharing with you guys, but I'm actually at work right now. And I told them that I just need a couple, that I need to step away for a meeting, and they were okay with it. I'm actually working on a movie set, but it's like my life completely changed. I remember going to my first meeting and just crying because and I should have been the happiest ever of my life, and I was not. Oh, Jesse, I know your timer, 5, 5, and 5, please. And I don't know if you're timing, but 5, 5, and 5. But I should have been the happiest of my life ever, but I was not. I had just gotten married in Hawaii, dream wedding with one of like my quote unquote best friend that we were friends for 7 years. We were together for 10 years. And we had gotten married on our 10-year anniversary. We had 2 kids. I had a house. I was a stay-at-home mom. Checked all the freaking boxes. I don't know where the boxes came from, but I checked all the boxes. And I was not happy. And I remember sitting on my kitchen floor and wanting to kill myself. And I remember a therapist, when I was working at one company, I had gone to a therapist, and and I was telling her about my purging. And she was like, have you ever gone to an OA meeting? And I kind of put that in my back burner. And so that night when I was sitting there, and my whole thing was, I did not want to pass this disease, this problem down to my kids. And I researched it. I Googled it, like, what do we do when we have a problem? Google everything. So I Googled like how to cure an eating disorder. And surprisingly enough, it was like there was 12 things on that list. And number 12 was go to an OA meeting. So I was like, oh, maybe that's a sign. So I went to my first OA meeting, and surely enough, even though I sat in the rooms in Glendora on the pews there, and I was crying my eyeballs out. I was amongst a bunch of old white women, but they spoke my language about the food and how crazy they were with the food and how emotional it was, and and I never left. However, it was really hard to like wake up, and not go to the food anymore. But I really, really didn't want to pass this disease down to my kids. So I guess like, thank you. Just a little bit of my history. I come from a very dysfunctional Asian American family. Food was love, and everything was just eat more, eat more, eat more. Never spent time together. Then it's like, or anything like that. We couldn't be honest. And then move on forward. I ended up myself in the juvenile system. Was removed from my home, and that was a blessing from God, actually, that because I finally got the love and nurturing that I needed in the juvenile system. I graduated high school from there. I went home, but I was better, but I wasn't, and that's where my eating disorder developed. And so I'm a bulimic, so I've been binging and purging, and the binging and purging actually started from an abusive relationship. And I could not transform myself to be this girl, this person that this person wanted me to be. And the only way I would do it and be this person. And the only way I could relieve myself was through the purging. So I would eat as much food as I can, and then I would purge it out, and I would just feel so calm. But then I realized during a lot of that is just because I didn't have a voice to finally be myself. So through program, I finally got clean from the food. I learned how to eat again because I had a few fellows that recommended a dietitian that a lot of other fellows use in program too. And I learned how to eat again. I weighed and measured my food and stuff like that. And I lost a lot of weight. My highest weight, I was at 260, and I'm only 5'1". That was pregnant with my first son. And but I do have to admit that my weight has gone up and down in program. I've lost the same 100 pounds over and over again. However, people say don't leave until the miracle happens, right? For me, my outside appearance, this is within the Asian community, is that our outside appearance, especially for a woman, an Asian woman, is like, it's everything because it attracts our husband. It just tells people how we are, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And so it was everything to me. And I wasn't skinny and stuff like that or whatever. And even if I was skinny, it was very, very uncomfortable for me. So I got to program. It led me to go to therapy. I did tons of EMDR therapy in and out of that. I'm working with 3 different sponsors, food plans, weigh and measure. How right now my food's a little bit changing a little bit because weighing and measuring isn't connecting with me anymore. So I'm on the path of like discovering how to eat again for what my body without controlling it. This last batch, I learned that I was using my food plan to restrict because, once again, I'm an addict of all kinds. So I was restricting, I was using and here's the thing, this program is a spiritual program. And basically what I was doing all of my life was I was making everything else God. My mom and dad God, my relationships, the guy that I was with at the time God. And then when I finally got clean, it was like my food plan was God. My workout was God. Like nothing else was God but these things. And it was because it helped me control my weight. But the miracle right now that I'm experiencing is that I'm the biggest I've been in a very long time. I'm like probably like 180 or something like that. And that's heavy for me, especially when I got down to like 130 or something. And it's really uncomfortable for me. But this last few years is that I've finally learned to accept myself the way I am. And my weight doesn't matter. The outside doesn't matter. However, that doesn't give me an excuse to binge and eat or whatever it is. It's another awakening, a spiritual awakening in the program to finally surrender things like my food plan, things like my food, things like how I feel, and everything it is with God, you know? And even coming on right now, it's like, how am I going to do this? And I'm at work and da 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 da. And it's just like surrender everything to God. Because I had an experience in the last 2 weeks was like my kid, my middle son, he is a compulsive overeater. And he got on the scale and he was doing the whole like, Mom, do we lose weight when we sleep? Because I weighed myself, and I was this much weight. And then when I weighed myself in the morning, I was like 3 pounds less. And of course, I wanted to restrict his food. I wanted to put him on a diet because that's what was done to me. My first diet pill was given to me by my mom at the age of 8, which is what my son is now. Thank you. Is that 5 minutes done, or I have 5 more minutes?
Okay.
So being that said, don't leave till the miracle happens. And I'm experiencing the miracle right now. Whether God releases me from this food plan or not, I have full faith in that. And I am, for once in my life, my outer shell doesn't matter. But I believe that God will put me in his hands and bring me to something bigger than me, and I can rely on him for everything. And my God is my God, but I relate as God, but it could be higher power, spirit, whatever you relate it to. But I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to be asked, and thank you for letting me share.
Ew. Get up for my. All right. Now we're gonna open it up for Yeah, we got a lot of claps, a lot of hearts coming out. So we'll be going into a question and answer time period. So if you have a question, a comment, or you could either place it in chat or you could raise your hand. I'll call on you virtually, and then you'll be able to unmute from there. And we also welcome everybody who's been able to join halfway through too. If you have any questions that may be coming up, or yes, thank you, Maya Prasad. Questions. I am okay. We have a question here. So the literature and a lot of the steps mentions God. Will this OA program work for me if I come from a Buddhist family? So either Prasad or Mai, if you'd like to answer.
Prasad, you want to take that, or you want me to? I can answer too. You want me? Hi, I didn't catch your name. Oh, it's just OA. Well, there's a part in the big book that talks about, the program to the atheist. And I myself, I'm Buddhist also. However, my higher power, I realized I needed to get closer to my higher power. And I did that through so many different ways. I went to so many churches. I went to temples. I went everywhere, and I just couldn't get connected. Program was one of the ways, and it's a spiritual program. Program was one of the ways to connect me with my higher power, which is inside of me. And religion kind of is a way to control how we connect it, or I don't want to say control, but our relationship with our higher power is our own personal relationship. You'll develop, for me, I couldn't find God. Program helped me find God. And no matter how many temples, no matter how many churches, no matter whatever it is, program helped me find God because I developed my own personal relationship, with my higher power of my understanding. And I call him God, and it's a man. But that's my own. But sometimes I go higher power, spirit, divine, universe, all of it. I say all of it. And as being a Buddhist, because I'm a Buddhist myself, I connect with that too. So I basically program has helped me find God in every aspect of my life, whether it's religion, whether it's through people, and I find specks of God everywhere, through songs, through music, through feathers falling, through leaves. God is everywhere, and God is always speaking. It's like we have to be consciously aware. That means being clean from the food and any other addictions, be able to connect with our higher power. And that's how, for me, that's how being a Buddhist, that's how I was able to finally connect with my higher power of God, whichever. But it does work, because there's a chapter in the big book that talks about being atheist and also stuff in other people, but it's just a connection spiritually, So I don't know if that helps, but that's how mine is with my program.
Just a follow-up question to that is because there might be people who might not be familiar with Overeaters Anonymous. You mentioned a big book. What is the big book, or what would you say it is for you?
The big book is the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's written by Bill W. and a handful of other people, and it's basically the experience, strength, and hope of a series of different people that go through getting clean and their journey, their program, and how they worked it. And Bill, not only did he get multiple people to write their experiences, but he gets doctors to talk about, why they think that that it's a spiritual malady, why we're addicts, Alcoholics Anonymous talks specifically about alcohol, but we can transverse that to make it fit for ours, which is Overeaters Anonymous. And we use the big book where we convert it to fit which is food. So.
Thank you, Mai. Thank you.
Yeah.
Prasad, do you have anything to add, or?
Yeah, one of the beauties of this program of OA is that we get to choose what that God or whatever that higher power or spirit is. And I found for me specifically, I had issues with the word, the term. And so by switching up the name of it to something else, it created an open mind to find out whatever this extra power outside of my own control is that's going to guide me and support me. And over time, I can, whatever resentments or misgivings or issues that I had with the word God or God, the God of children or God of other people, I've been able to like move past that. And now I can use that word and it's just whatever that being is. And it's so personal to me and it's, I think, personal to everybody. But it's really just important. I think it was important for me to remove whatever inhibitions, misgivings, issues that I had with that specific word and that term, so that I had an open mind to just experience whatever it could be.
All right. Thank you, Prasad. Next question. I believe I heard, Mai, that you mentioned weighing and measuring her food. Is that a common part of Overeaters Anonymous or also other programs? Just sharing a little bit more about that.
I feel thanks for asking about that, because like I had mentioned, that weighing and measuring, I'm an addict of all kind, and I basically do whatever it is to make me feel better, to control my weight. And at one point I was losing a lot of weight and I was weighing and measuring my food, and it taught me how to eat again, because as a compulsive eater, nothing was ever enough, nothing. And it never like satisfied me. But once I surrendered my food to my higher power and started eating what my body needed, like I started learning, like actually like, hey, if I'm thirsty, drink water. Hey, like not trying to force a gallon of water, because some people do that, you know, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to drink a gallon of water. Or, hey, if I'm hungry, it's not really that I'm hungry. I might be tired or upset or angry, you know what I mean? But like, it really taught me how to learn. But so weighing and measuring, let me go back to weighing and measuring. Weighing and measuring, because a lot of times I was eating so much food that I didn't even know what my body needed, but it was never enough. So even though I would eat, well, like we'll say 20,000 calories, I don't know if it's 20,000 or not, but we'll say, for instance, that I would eat 20,000 calories, I would, like an hour or two later, I would want to eat some more, you know? And, you know, an hour later after that, I would want to eat some more. And it was just basically never enough. I got to a point in my program where I was weighing and measuring, and it was through a dietitian that works with other overeaters, you know, and that people in program. And I really surrendered myself and not make food or hide behind food or whatever the case was. And I finally learned. So, but I'm also an addict. So I did use my food plan to restrict too. And so that's why I had to surrender now my food plan, you know, and go with, you know, and really turn it over to my higher power to help me with this problem, and not use my food plan to restrict and try to lose weight. And because we get obsessive, you know, in my head, I get obsessive. I just want to look good. It's vain. Like we come in for vanity, and we come, you know, it's actually for the, you know, the sanity, right? So hopefully that helps you with that question. Oh, and then your food plan too. Everybody's food is different. People talk about abstinence, like what's abstinence. It's all different, buddy. And when you get into program, you start to learn like what works for you, what doesn't. Some people do a 3-2-1, just meals, 2 snacks in one day. And some people do 3 meals, you know, or no sugar, no flour. But eventually you'll get to what works, you know. And mine was basically 3 meals, 2 snacks. And it was weighed out to specific portions of protein, like certain amount of carbs, certain amount of vegetables, and there's also fats, which drove me crazy because I didn't want to eat fats, but it's a part that our body needs it, you know? So hopefully that answers that.
Thank you, Mai.
Yeah.
Prasad, is there anything that you'd like to add on?
Yeah. So I have not done any weighing and measuring in program. So I just want to share that it is part of people's programs, but it's not a requirement. So, you know, you'll get the help and guidance that you need and what's best for you. I have over time used different tools and outside help. So I do work with a nutritionist now to help figure out what like my body needs and my certain health goals are. And I have at different times like sent pictures of my food to my sponsor. Not because my sponsor is like watching me or caring for me or like judging it by any means, but it's just a helpful way for me to keep honest about what I'm doing each day. So again, these are things that we figure out over time, and it's helpful to work with a sponsor and a guide to get you through that. But weighing and measuring, I'd say, is not a requirement of the program. It just does help a lot of people.
Awesome. Thank you, Prasad.
Oh, let me add one more thing. Can I add one more thing to that? Is that like Prasad said, weighing and measuring isn't a requirement. Everybody's food plan is different. I did also, it's not just weighing and measuring, but I had like 3 sponsors. I had my step sponsor, I had my regular sponsor, then I had a food sponsor, which is basically someone I turned my food into. And just like that, it wasn't a way to control or whatever it was, but it was just to keep accountability. Like I was checking in with somebody, like what I was eating to make sure, you know what I mean? And so like that too was a part of weighing and measuring, was the accountability of what I was intaking and making sure that I wasn't emotionally eating or hiding what I was eating. Because there was times I binged and I still reported everything I ate, you know? So that was another part of the weighing and measuring too, to report, to be honest with my food.
Thank you, Maya and Prasad. What I'm hearing is that there's no one blanket for everybody, one size fits all, but being able to work with sponsor, with fellow OA members, with your higher power, whatever you label as your higher power, to find what is working for you. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. You. We have our next question. Says, thank you, both Maya and Prasad, for your stories. For Prasad, what would you have found helpful from a white ally in a business meeting facing what you described? How can someone like me stand with you well in similar circumstances?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Oh my gosh, I sound like I'm a radio host or I don't know what. A lot of times it's just repeating what I had said, you know, having someone else say the same thing, and like having the messenger be from a different person. And like, we all know this, right? I could hear a bunch of great advice from my parents and not think it's worthwhile, but hear it from a different voice and like, be like, oh, that's wonderful. So sometimes just repeating the words. And like, what doesn't help is getting accusatory or telling people off, like, you are doing this or you are doing that, or you aren't listening, or like, that doesn't really get the full advocate stuff moving forward. So again, just repeating what was being said or restating, I think what this person is saying is A, B, and C.
Is Maya, is there anything you'd like to add on to that?
So I've learned, thank you for asking that question. I learned that I myself too had set a barrier, you know, because of the outside, like white, Asian, whatever. Like I myself mentally felt like I wasn't getting support. Like I have always done a certain program, and I'm a special events coordinator for my own for the board for. I've been doing that special events position for about 4 years and longer. But the first 2 years of it, I was fighting everybody because like our rooms were going to close, and I was just trying to get money to keep it open. But nobody was willing to help.
Jumbled up. The last thing that I heard was maybe you want to turn off the camera so that uh, the voice could come through a lot clearer. But I heard for 4 years, I put a boundary. That's what I heard. I put a boundary. I'm a special events coordinator for. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me better now? Because I turned off the camera. Perfect. And so like, and my inner group, like I had mentioned, is full of old white women. And they were very, like, to me, they were like control freaks. But that was like my head. So this last, I just hosted a very phenomenal, not me, but like my inner group helped me create, like, to host this like living steps workshops, which combines all 12 programs to show how we correlate the addictions, you know, and how we can get help with that. But I've done this workshop before, and I got resistance, and you know, and XYZ. But when I finally asked for help and allowed my other fellows of whatever they were, they came out. Like the workshop produced almost $1,000, you know, in donations. And I myself, when I hosted it a couple of years ago, it was only $200, and that was a good amount of money for us too, because they were getting zero. But what I'm basically trying to say is that I myself had to help. Like I myself had to open up. I myself had to be willing, you know, to put down that barrier and really listen and know and really communicate what I needed from my my fellow members that were not like me. So say, for example, I think to honestly answer the question from my end was for them to be authentically themselves. And it helped me on a different level to see who they were so that I could know them, and that they were able at the capacity to help me at their capacity that they could. And the same goes vice versa for me, because I was finally able to be transparent with them, to tell them like, I can't do that, you know, or I'm not comfortable with that, or blah, 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 you know? And it was really me creating that barrier. And then after time, like I was able to talk to my fellows and of every different, you know, how I need to be supported, you know? So hopefully that helps answer the question.
Thank you, Mai Prasad. I just want to say, I think you both have radio voices, so I don't know if there's a future there, you know, wherever you like a side gig. We have one last question. How can white allies help OA APID community? So that was a direct question for me. I'm just putting it out there. If you know of any suggestions.
I can start. For me, the allies, what can help our community is everybody. There is no difference whether it's an addict, and a lot of people talk, which is because, you know, we talk about just like the culturally, but from like doing the last workshop, the living steps, there was also barriers with our addictions. Like, no, we're OA. They're Alcoholics Anonymous, or they're or they're Sex Anonymous, or they're Gamblers Anonymous. So once for me, like I realized like all of it, which Bill W created, but he created Alcoholics Anonymous. But now if you look into it, there's so many anonymous programs. Like there's so many 12-step programs, you know what I mean? And I myself believe that all of us together, we're all brothers and sisters in recovery. So like I feel like for me, like my own personal and going through, and I'm a cross stepper. Like I have so many different 12-step programs, but that helped me to get recovery, full recovery, where I wouldn't go back to the food because I was a codependent, where I wouldn't go back to food because I didn't have a healthy relationship with money, you know? And so for me, like the allies are just everybody that's in recovery, like all 12 steppers. And it might even be like, you know, outside a program, but we're talking in program, is that it's everything that relates to recovery, whether it be with drugs and alcohol, whether it be with food, whether it be with, you know, a white person, Black person, or a female, male, like all of us together, we help each other get better.
And thank you, Mai, and you, Prasad.
Yeah, you know, I want to bring this back specifically to the concept of food, because that's something that we have to do on a daily basis. And recognizing that a lot of our Asian-based foods have carbs in them, like rice, and I have rotis and chapatis and like idlis, and like these are all pretty healthy for us and part of our normal diet. And for me, they're not like an addictive thing. There's definitely some carbs that are not good for me, so I'm not saying that that's the case with all of them. So the ability to, I guess, listen and understand, and maybe again, just listen to some of the specific food items that we may share about, because it's not a typical like same food that would be for someone who grew up in the US living like just, I guess, and again, it's just a recognition that we do have some certain base foods that may not be triggering and addictive to us because they're just normal for us, and supporting us as we like try and find the appropriate food plan for us.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you, Mai. I just put down into chat if some folks, if you're in APID, we have several folks here. If you're listening on the recording from the OA APID community, maybe they want to answer some of those through chat, and I can read those out too also, because there's a lot of different ideas or thoughts on that. So let's give a little bit of I'll give a little bit of time if you choose to. Raise your hand if you do want to answer in the chat, so I just know once you put it out there. No. Anybody else want to? No. Yeah. Okay. All right, Emily. So I'm gonna move over to the response from Emily to the last question. Welcome, and I believe the last question was, how can white allies help the OA APID community? And welcoming us when you see us in predominantly white meetings, respecting our meeting boundaries, and finding meetings that respecting our meeting boundaries and finding meetings that aren't APID focused. If your intergroup does outreach, advocating for putting up flyers or having more meetings in different neighborhoods and languages, etc. Thank you. So, gotcha. I will go ahead and read out loud some other contacts until you post into the chat. All right. So announcements. So if you'd like to contact us for more information, you could email us at, and this is all one word, OA Asian Pacific Islander @gmail.com. So that's OA ASIAN PACIFICISLANDER OA Asian Pacific Islander @gmail.com. You could, if you have any more questions, please go ahead and put that in there, or you can feel free to contact us. And then also about our meetings. So Sunday is a closed, it's not open to the public meeting. So that means if you are part of OA, we have a OA Asian Pacific Islander Desi diaspora and multiracial. That includes APID focused discussion meeting. It's Sundays at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna finish this off here first. So Sunday always a closed meeting. It's APID focused. It is 3 p.m. You could and also Friday we have a closed meeting, and it's APID focused on OA steps and traditions, and it's a tradition study with various OA literature. That one on Friday is at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you, again, I'll go and repeat, if you'd like to know about the meeting ID and the passcode, OA Asian Pacific Islander, all one word, @gmail.com, or you could be able to share it with other folks who may be might be interested because that's part of our outreach that we're doing. And then we also have a flyer to pass out. I'll go ahead and that flyer will be posted in here, and that flyer also includes the information on what the meeting announcements are. Is there any other responses before we move into starting to close? Okay, so we have what we're posting into the chat, 12 steps of OA, and the flyer is available on the outreach website. We have tools of OA, literature, OA literature, that is all available. All right. We are going to go ahead, usually close with the OA promises, or the we usually close with the Roseanne's prayer. So this is if you'd like to unmute, and we go ahead and put this into say this all at once. So everybody take a deep breath in, let it out. I put my hand in yours.
I put my hand in yours.
And together we can do what we can never do alone. No longer is there a sense of hopelessness. No longer must we each we're all together now. And as we join hands, we find love and understanding beyond our wildest dreams. All right. So we're gonna thank everybody who is helping to put this event together. Thank you to our security team, our screen share team, all our speakers, Mai and Prasad, all those in the planning committee, all of our OA members who came out to support, friends, family, guest supporters, folks who are just joining for the first time, to everyone to everybody who's going to help with the distribution of this recording, to everyone, just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and reach out if you have any questions. We'll be able to contact you and let you know when we have the recording done, so that we could go ahead and if you want to spread it out, share it out with other folks. And we'll be sticking around for any questions and some fellowships. And I just want to say bye, thank you, and we're going to end recording at there, and we're going to still hang out.
Okay.